All right, party people. This your man Griff. Whew, goodness. I tell you. Let me see something here. Okay. Nah, I like the preview. All right, I got this vertical thing and I'm trying to, so like when I'm centered here on the vertical one, I'm just a little off center. So I'm gonna have to adjust my camera. So, oop, wrong way. There we go. All right. Because I'm just trying to get it to where when I move, I'm still vertical. Still centered and everything. Oh man. Mm-mm-mm. Well, welcome everybody. Glad you're here. Thank you for sliding in. I wasn't going to do anything, but hey. Okay, my man's headed to the last appointment. Yeah, I had one tonight. Okay. I was just looking at this message. Yeah, I think five today. That's a good call. Yeah, I think, yeah, one, two, three, four. I had five today, and my last one, my fifth one canceled. The company canceled it. So I was like, all right, um I could have been on here earlier, but of course, I had to do my grocery shopping. I'm glad I did. Out and did my grocery shopping and everything. And I probably need to order some stuff from the Sam's Club before I go to bed. I gotta see what I'll need. But went and did my grocery shopping. The only thing I couldn't find was some eggnog. I was trying to find me some eggnog, and I hadn't seen that for months. I did get one bottle of it and everything, and I'm the only one who drinks eggnog in the house, the non-alcoholic kind. And so I couldn't do that. So I went to three different grocery stores. Two normally will have it. The third one, Walmart, never has it. So I'm a little uppity when it comes to that kind of stuff. Feel free to drop your questions in there, anything dealing with notary stuff, any questions, concerns, thoughts, ideas, because we're going to get into this tonight and everything. Hold on. Mm, All right, I just got to pull up this site, and I hope people don't get offended by what I'm going to talk about tonight, or I'm sharing my thoughts and opinions as well as what I've learned from other people. Good evening to you there, Carolyn. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And man, all right. Y'all know I always got something to say about something. I'm just gonna be real with you. Um, and I think, and I already know because of my approach. Sometimes I'm unfiltered. Sometimes I'm just like, "Hurrah," like a 1980s, rap battle. But sometimes subtlety doesn't get the point across. So I just come at it. And a lot of times I'm coming at it after I've listened or been waiting for other people to come in and say certain things publicly. They say it privately, but they don't say it publicly. I know, man. I wasn't going to come. I knew you would be here, but I figured, I was like, you know what? I got to come on. I got to come on. All right. So, one of the things I wanted to ask y'all, and y'all may have been noticing it, y'all seen it probably on this video, the thumbnails. I've been doing some new stuff with the thumbnails, trying to get a little bit more. I won't fancy or professional or catch up with everybody else. Y'all know for the longest, I have my thumbnails be just like, be honest, just be crap. I was just using Canva and just slapping whatever together. So I was scrolling through, might have been Facebook, and there was this ad for this one thing called Thumbnail Creator. And I was like, okay, cool. And I've been looking for a thumbnail creator for at least 2.5 years that I could just sort of say what I wanted and it would do it. Maybe Canva can do that. I don't know, but I could never figure that out. So I found one and I've been using it. And this here is it. I've been using it. And as you can see, and what I did was I uploaded pictures of myself. And then it takes those pictures, different poses that I have, and it selects what they think is the best one. So like this one that I'm using now, um, this is how it started off. As you can see, it has this little flare in the back, got a little heart up there. Then I said change the text down here to that, but then I still don't like that flare. Then I said get rid of the flare. And then I was like, okay, what does this heart represent? So I told it to change it to something that showed like mentoring and everything. So let me go to the home. So here's all the different ones. So like here's another one that it put together based off of what I told it. And I wish I had the verbiage. It doesn't have it, but it made this one, and then it made this one. And I like the other one because it was more had a little cartoon flair to it, like a lot of people like. But what you do is there's two ways you can do this. One way you can actually create a video and then tell it to pull your video in. It will analyze your video and create a thumbnail for you. Or you can tell it what your idea is and it will create it based off of your idea. And I was like, okay, so this time I did it where I told it an idea, basically, that there are people out there that are asking us to sign up for training, join their organization, things of that nature, but no one talks to us and asks us what we want. So that's where it came in with what notaries really want and everything. So I'll show you an example here. So let's say if I wanted to edit this, oops, nope, that's generating the title. Oh, here it is. So all I would do is just over here and type and say, like I'll just say in this case, remove the question mark. So it'll go through process and it'll remove it. And depending on what you're asking it to do and how detailed you are, it could take a little longer or what have you. So it removed it. You see there, took it out. Then if I wanted to change the background over here from yellow, so I could say change the yellow side. What color y'all think I could put up there? Give me real quick a color. Instead of yellow, what color? And yes, I am still having my class. The link is in the description. January 14th. No, I'm sorry, January 10th, I'm doing class. January 10th. All right. So she says blue. Any particular blue, or just like a sky blue, a dark blue, or ocean blue, or anything? Change the yellow side to let's go with a light ocean blue. Oh, my bad. She said navy. All right. Okay, we'll go with a light. Everybody says navy blue. All right. So I'll go with light navy. Now, hopefully, it normally understands what I'm saying, and you got to be descriptive with it and tell it exactly what you want to do. Boom. And there we go. This is cool. I love this. Being a web developer, I love this. I really, really, really love this. This is like, boom, I like it. You see what I'm saying? So you can change the pictures and stuff. You can tell it. Now, the one thing I haven't figured out how to do is communicate to it to put my picture in place of another person's picture. Now I gotta play with that a little bit. But you can convert it. Let's see, I think, yeah, face swap. Here it is. I can tell it down here. These are with the Griff models. Now, here's the problem I have with this. When I've done face swap, it just changes the face, but not the hands and the neck part. But we'll do it and see what happens here. Hopefully it comes out right. But when I've done that in the past, it has not looked good. It looked like it just superimposed my face on there, and I didn't like that. And you can see it's taking a little bit longer, really trying to think its way through. And this is called thumbnailcreator.com. And see, I don't even like that picture. Got me looking like, ugh. And let me see. No, that's my hand. Yep, that's my hand. It changed my hand and everything. But I could then turn around and probably tell it, change the face to a smiling one of me. And I've never done this before, so maybe this will work. I hope it will. I have 6 pictures already in there, and it just goes through and grabs whatever it thinks. There we go. So yeah, it has, yeah, because faces. Yeah, so you can see over here got all these pictures of me already up in there. So it just takes whatever, and I can add I think 6, 7, 8, 9, I got 10 in there. I can upload 10 more in there and everything. Um, I can upload 10 more pictures in there, or a different, create a different face set and everything. So like I said, new face, and then I can create that and all of that. So this is pretty cool. I like this. I like this. So I've been having fun with it. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and coming up with some nice thumbnails and things of that nature and all of that. So this is cool. I like it. I like it. So I'm gonna try to use it more on, especially on my Fritter Fridays, and all of that. All right. So the topic of tonight. Y'all know I've been dealing, yes, and like I said, I'm still having the classes and everything. Good evening to you from Virginia. And everything is doing good, Shannon. And you said what to do when you get no reply from service. Had some docs that were messed up called. Oh man. Well, let's deal with that real quick. This is where you just gotta use your best judgment, dog. Because I've had that same thing. Today I had a closing. It was a trust. It was just a single line. I'm like, do they both sign on this line? Do they both sign, with trust or trustee? What do they want? No instructions, nothing at all. The only thing they answered back was they need to sign trustee only. And I'm like, okay, but what about the line? Do they sign both together on the same line, one above each other? What? No response whatsoever. That's been happening more and more and more, that people have been just ignoring notaries. It's becoming a huge problem. And it's gotten so bad that I've had to actually tell the client, please call the loan officer, please call so and so, because that's the only way I can get a response. Because when I'm calling them, it's, oh, go to SnapDocs and we respond quicker there. 20, 30 minutes before someone responds. I'm serious. It is 20, 30 minutes before somebody responds. So The only thing you can do, right? And in some cases, you make that command decision, like you said, and put it on hold until you get an answer. And that's essentially what I did today. I was supposed to have met them at 10. I went and did my 12 o'clock, came back and did the 10 o'clock around 1 o'clock because I had to get the answer first. And nobody was giving me a clear cut answer. And I didn't feel like just waiting, and then making the other people wait. It worked out. But you're right. That's what happens. So one of the things that y'all heard me talk about was notary, the National Notary Coalition. And how many of y'all remember me asking this question a couple of years ago? How many more trainings do we need to have or take in order to prove that we are competent? How many more organizations do we need to be a part of in order to prove that we are good notaries to use? If you remember that, put a one in the chat. Okay. It's been a couple of years since I've said it probably, but I made that statement a lot a couple of years ago. Like, yo, everybody keeps telling us to take LSS, Notary to Notary, Notary to Pro, Signing Agent Basics, Notary Stars. The list goes on and on and on. And it's like everybody is like, my training is better than theirs. Then you got all the fringe TMCs coming out, trainer, mentor, coaches. And then they're saying, take my training, take my mentor, and let me coach you. And it's like these entities, these individuals, these organizations, these companies are like telling everybody, don't pick a notary unless they took my training. And I'm like, but then you're interfering with my ability to do my job. Why does my ability to do what I'm supposed to do for my state hinge on your unapproved training? Why is your way the correct way? What makes it that way? Why are you saying taking your training is the best thing that I need to do? And if I haven't, don't use me. Because that's essentially what you're saying, which means you're messing with my economy. And I don't like that. That opens up a huge door of antitrust issues, in my opinion, based on understanding the antitrust laws. And you're telling people don't pick these notaries. Is that creating a monopoly to where the only way a notary can get work, meaning a commissioned notary for a state, not your state, but for my state, I have to go through your training to do that. So on one end, you sort of have that with the NNA. Fortunately, there are companies out there that's like, we'll pick the notary anyway. There's some notaries that some organizations don't care whether or not we're NNA certified. None of my direct clients have ever asked me, am I NNA certified? They never asked me for E&O insurance. The only thing they care about is that I'm commissioned. And then they can verify my commission by going to the state website and pull that up. So it's like, okay, so they know that I'm commissioned, all of that. Okay, so that's good. They ask me, you got E&O insurance? Yes, I do. How much? $1 million. Okay, we good. If I'm lying and something come up, it's gonna be found out. So I'm like, all right, cool. But no one has ever asked me, am I NNA certified? It's just that simple. Okay. So now we got the NNA telling us we got to do this. We got Ty telling us don't do any work unless you're getting paid, unless you're getting paid this big fee. So now we're telling the companies, yeah, hire NNA certified notaries, but if you don't pay us, we gonna make you look bad. Now you got another group called the American, and let me pull this up so y'all can see. The American Guild of Notary Publics, okay, down here at the bottom, American Guild of Notary Publics. They got this inaugural event and they're doing this credentialing thing where now this group right here, the American Guild of Notary Publics, um, what I'm what I like is that they're about the training. What I'm concerned about is that they may be no different than the NNA, where it's all about the training, but we don't get any support when we have a problem with companies. And their goal is that basically they're saying we need to be credentialed. Okay. Um, I really don't know what I have to look the word up, credential. You know what credential mean, but it's like, okay, do they have some other meaning behind it? So I'm sitting here like, okay, so now they want us to be a part of this notary guild. Okay. And basically this is saying the first class test, that these candidates registered and was tested. A select hold up, a select recruiting, selective recruiting for the initial group of brave notaries willing to test out the proposed process of credentialing notaries publics in late August. So this just started. And over 50 current notaries from 19 different states volunteered to be a part of the historic process. Credentialing chairs work diligently. Additionally, the board recognized the exam could be more simplified. So basically, by the submission deadline, 32 candidates qualified out of the 50 for the credentials. Okay, so they're gonna do this thing. It's gonna be live on YouTube. I guess this person here named Pratt. Never heard of her. Nothing. I don't have nothing to say about. I don't know who she is. That's the chairman of the board. So this is a big deal. Chairman of the board, things of that nature. Um, got these fancy little things, and apparently, I guess this is being coming out of Biloxi, Mississippi, and all of that. So it's talking about over 4 million notaries nationwide, many of whom have very little or no training. Is crucial to stand out in this competitive marketplace. The mission of the American Notary Guilds is to ensure notaries who demonstrate the highest level of knowledge, experience, and professionalism can be easily recognized by those who depend on properly notarized documents. By raising the standards of notary practice, we strengthen trust, this, that, and the other, gain automatic trust and credibility to be recognized as leaders in the notary practice, access advanced training and resources, enjoy professional recognition and new opportunities, and all of that. So they got these different levels. Okay, these different levels. I don't know if I can zoom that in anymore. Hold on, let me see if I can open the image up. There we go. So here's these different levels. And I guess you don't have to go and become a master at it, but they got candidate, as an apprentice, you demonstrate basic understanding of state notary laws, rules, and ethics but may have difficulty distinguishing between primary and secondary sources and many occasionally rely on less reliable information. Formal training may be limited or minimum. That's a person that's their knowledge base. Has limited experience, typically holding the commission for less than 4 years or completing an average of 250 to 500 notarial acts annually. Experience may be further limited by performing similar notarial acts in repetitive settings. So basically, you're a one trick pony. That's what they're saying. You're one trick pony. You're only doing a little bit here, and you only been in this game for 4 years. So that right there knocks a lot of people out, because if the signing companies want somebody that got more experience than this, that's not an apprentice level, how you going to rock and roll in there? Let me see. I can zoom that in more. All right. Feel free to throw some questions in there if you got. Okay. Demonstrate basic proficiency in completing straightforward notarial transactions, like, in compliance with applicable laws, requires ongoing supervision and frequent guidance from mentors. Sound like you don't know what the heck you're doing. Recognition, limited recognition within the locale or group as a reliable and trustworthy notary. So if you're on this level, USOL. So your goal is to get to this here, but then that means the candidate has a solid grasp of notary laws, rules, ethics, and best practices, relies generally on interpretive sources from primary and secondary resources for confirming of complex and unusual notarial requests, has completed at least one comprehensive training course provided by the commissioning authority or an approved source, typically has at least 4 years of experience and has performed over 1,800 notarial acts of increasing diversity and complexity, operates in either an independent or supervisory role, relying on advanced judgment and expertise to address a wide range of notarial scenarios to guide others when necessary. And feel free to drop your thoughts in there as I'm saying this stuff and as you're reading it yourself. Skills: confidently handles most situations and requests without assistance or support, is able to determine when a request is beyond their level of proficiency and will seek assistance as appropriate. And then you have recognition. Public recognition may be still limited, although positive acknowledgement by clients or customers may be frequent and often public. So I guess they still may not really recognize you to a high level. What's going on, lady? Welcome, 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 as my man says. So let me put the link in the description for y'all. I meant to do that and I forgot. So that's the link to this here. This seems like it's going to take a while. This is going to take a while. This is long term. This is super long term. And when you get over to expert and all of that, this doesn't even talk about the number of orders you've done or notarial acts. Then this is when you get into you are being a supervisor, acting as a supervisory or mentorship. See, this is to me, this is starts sounding like a job, supervisory. As an independent contractor, I'm not. I sort of get what they're saying. I get it, but I'm just concerned that my ability to operate as an independent notary gets a little muddled. Okay. What I'm also concerned about is this here, the experience. How do you prove that you've done this other stuff? Where's the proof at? Because you know what I'm saying? So that means if you are a person who just works in a title office, that's where this falls in at. You've only done title work, but you've never done mobile notary work. You've only done apostilles. You've only done, even though apostilles don't need to be notarized, but sometimes there's certain documents that do. You've only done stuff for estate planning. So in other words, as an apprentice, you're really just a one-trick pony, just doing very. Hold on one second. All right. Okay. Just making sure this wasn't some last minute order. Oh, okay. Q just sent me a picture of his daughter. That's all right. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So this here is saying you need 250 or whatever you're doing that on average. How do we verify that? I don't know. How do we verify the 1800 and that they're increasing diversity and complexity? What makes it more complex than another? Okay. That's my concern. That's so one of the things that I'm also concerned about is that part of their mission, from what I'm understanding, and y'all can go and look through here even more. One of the things that they were talking about is, I guess, encouraging, and I'm probably going to get in trouble with the group, and I have to ask these questions because it just makes me concerned because what I'm concerned about is, and there was something in here that I saw, and I can't remember. I think it was this here. Um, Basically, what they're saying is you need to have a notary who's credentialed by us. And I'm concerned that what they're communicating is if they're not credentialed by us, you really shouldn't use them. And what I'm looking at when I see this here, and I haven't found any training thing. It's like understand basic state notary laws, but that still don't mean you know how to properly notarize for us fill out the notarial certificate. I know I sound like I'm a little all over the place. I'm trying to stay focused, but my thing is I'm concerned that a lot of people with this whole training space, they're more concerned about telling us what to do. Now, with the NNA, with TI, and with this organization, and y'all can see the leadership in there and everything. Laura Brewer, Bill Soroka, Marcy, she's a part of it, and a couple other people. Here's my thing, and this is with any organization. I'm concerned about everybody being so worried about making notaries act right, but nobody ever deals with the lender, the title, or the signing company who repeatedly do things or ask notaries to do things that aren't correct. Because, in my opinion, I've said this: if you're going to ask, if you're going to tell these entities, you need a notary who has been trained by us, and that organization agrees, and then that organization who we are credentialed by and certified by, and all of that has a standard of how we're supposed to act. Because when you start talking about following notary laws, that means the title company, the lender, the signing company has to respect the fact that we are knowledgeable in our notary laws. And we currently don't have that consistently. There are a few title company, I mean signing companies, and yes, signing companies and title companies. And there have been a lot of lenders over my years of doing this 8 years that do respect my state law and say, oh, okay, yeah, we understand. But there's others that, and there's no recourse, there's no action that we can take to encourage them to respect our notary laws. Part of the reason, which this is where I understand what they're trying to do, is part of the reason why they don't is because you have notaries who have joined in this business and they don't care about the training. I mean the laws. They don't care. They just gonna do whatever they want to do to make their money. But then when you take it back a layer, well, why do they have that attitude? Part of the reason why they have that attitude is from the training courses that are out there with these TMCs, because that's what they're teaching them. And not just the big boy ones that are always showing up at the NNA conference, but the little fringe ones here and there, the ones that want to be notary influencers and all of that, the ones that are all over Clubhouse, all over Instagram, all over TikTok. All of these people are putting some bull jive out here into the hearts and minds of notaries that make it difficult. That when we try to implement notary law, the title company, like, what are you talking about? You can do that because other notaries do it. So then when we say, hey, NNA, can you tell them that the NNA has told me multiple times, oh, we can't do that because they're not paying for this service to get this information. But you marketed to them either directly or indirectly and told them that they need to have NNA certified notaries. Well, yeah, we did. And they agreed to have NNA certified notaries. Yeah. And then we agreed to follow your standard of conduct, right? Yeah. Okay. But they're asking us to violate that. And not only that, but our state law. So who has a big enough stick to come in and tell them to stop it? Well, they're a private business. I get that. But there's this some sort of agreement that y'all have. And we're supposed to be operating above reproach. but they're asking us to operate in the gutter sometimes, not all of them. And nobody is stepping up to back the notary when we question it. Have any of y'all ever experienced that? Have any of y'all ever experienced trying to address a problem with regards to you operating within the confines of your notary law and the title company, the signing company, or the lender is somewhat dogmatic that you need to do what they say just either because they said to do it, because somebody in that organization, like I got 40 years experience, or because they say, well, other notaries do it. Anyone, if you've experienced any of that, type of three in the chat. Type of three in the chat if you've experienced any of that. Okay. I have repeatedly. Okay. I've experienced that repeatedly. So my concern is we got the NNA who has told me repeatedly we can't speak on your behalf or talk to them because you're paying for this NNA hotline service and they're not. All we can tell you to do is just tell them that what we told you is correct and that you need to follow that. And I said, but they don't believe me. So can you tell them? And each time they tell me no. So you have that. Now you have the National Notary Coalition who's saying you're going to pay us our money. My question is, what are you going to do to back us when they say we'll pay you your money, but you're going to do what the heck we say, whether it's legal or not, because we paying you all this money. And there are people that's out there that's like that. So how are you going to back us? Because some people feel if I pay you, you need to shut up and do what we say. You're not doing what we ask because we're not paying you. So here's $300 for that $85 closing. We're gonna pay you $300. Not do what we say, and I don't want to hear nothing out your mouth. But I'm still obligated by the oath that I swore to follow my state guidelines. Now we have the American Guild of Notary Publics, and I'm not mentioning the American Notary Association, that other one, because I haven't even looked into them. So now we have them telling us or sharing that we need to be credentialed and that there's this process we have to go through. Okay, well, here's my thoughts, and please give me your feedback. The more educated people are, the more compensation they expect to get. So if I go through the years of experience that they're talking about, I don't expect to get nowhere near $100. You put me on a professional level, it's $250. That's my thought. And especially me having 8 years in this business and well over 1,800 closings. And I've done a whole variety of them, from the hospital ones, wills, power of attorneys, the various different states, from loan closings, work with mobile notary companies, work with direct title, done Ron, I've done apostille, you name it, I got experience. So if I get their credentials, then to me that means I should be getting paid much higher. Now here's the question. Are the people who are looking to have these credentialed notaries, are they expecting to pay more money for the notary? Or are they looking to pay the same fee but get better quality? See, when you go to MIT and then you go work for a company like Booz Allen Hamilton, Deloitte, or NASA, or some government agency, that government agency expects to pay you a high fee, a high salary for the level of education that you obtain. It's expected. Do y'all agree or disagree? Type agree or disagree. So if you get educated in this world system of schooling, you are expected to receive something of higher compensation than somebody who didn't. The question is the entities that you're going to get this work from, do they expect, is it in their thought process to pay you a higher fee? And then how do you, so you disagree that a company doesn't, is not, so what aspect of it do you disagree with? And this is because I need to know so I can understand, because that's why I'm talking about this. Because again, who has taken time out to ask us questions about how we feel about all of this? Or we keep being told darn near every year, here's a new training program y'all need to take. Okay, it's merit based. Well, they will pay a scientist from MIT that's working on the space shuttle more than someone else. In other words, if you are, because I've never been a GS employee, but if you're coming in as a GS 12, the question is, are you a GS 12 step 1, 2, or 3 based on certain criteria? And if you have criteria that's above what is needed for step 1, 2, or 3, you have this degree, that degree, this experience, that experience, then you will say, I want to come in as a GS 12, step 7. I'm glad you brought that up. So, depending on where you are, you're right, it's merit based. But if you have done your part to get to where you need to be, in other words, you say, well, yeah, if they written out and said a GS 12, it's hard to come in at. This is hypothetical, okay? But if you never know, because I know people here, case in point, there are people who I know that was former military and they were either officers or high ranking enlisted. And because they had a master's degree and certain things checked off and the position they was applying for, they met those requirements or exceeded them, they came in, boom. And there was one guy that I knew, he came in, he didn't even have, I think he just had a bachelor's degree. He didn't have a master's degree. And he came in as a GS 12 in charge of people who had degrees, but they was GS 11s. So it depends. So each government agency is different, especially up there in DC versus down here in the Hampton Roads area. But the point is, they expect that if you have something that they're looking for is experience and training and knowledge, that they will have to pay you potentially a higher fee. As a notary getting certified, quantified, whateverfied, is the title company, is the lender that is now saying, I want to get grip. Are they expecting to pay me more than what they normally pay notaries, which will say be 125? Let's say 125. And now you're talking about, I mean, former physician with even a master's degree, you come in lower in of the pay scale. And I've seen that. I've seen that happen. And like I said, and I've seen it to where a guy that I actually worked for came in as a GS 12, but he was at the step 1 because he didn't have a master's degree. But he was retired Marines and he had a lot of operational experience that other people who had master's degree didn't have. So they hired him as a GS 12. He got his degree and moved on up. So the situation can warrant itself depending on where you live at. Okay. But overall, if they're paying 125, do they expect? You're right, it's situational. It is completely situational because just like the pay scale for people in DC is higher than the people down here in my area. And the people that's out there in California's pay scale for GS is higher. So if you look up GS pay scale for California versus Virginia, you will see a big difference. Okay. You will see a huge difference in everything. And I know people who became GSs here in Virginia and then would take a position out in California and then somehow work the system so when they came back to Virginia, they was not dropped in pay, which meant they might have had to get bumped up to a higher level or something. I don't know. I don't know all of the stuff. And right, I see you saying best qualified. So I'm the best qualified, but do they expect to pay for the best qualified? If that's not a part of their business model to pay for a credentialed notary to say, I want to pay 125. You're telling me if I get these credentialed notaries, I'll have better quality work, meaning they won't make these mistakes, that mistakes. The question is, are the people who are marketing to these businesses and telling them to select their notaries, are they informing them that you may have to pay higher fee? Now, they more likely will say, well, no, we're not doing that because that's a private company and that's between you and them. Okay, but somewhere along the line, the discussion needs to be had because if I'm getting trained by you to be a much better notary, to be more knowledgeable, and I go in there and I blow everybody out the water and I come in, boom, 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 I would expect to be compensated as such. Or what's the use of gaining all that knowledge and I'm still going to be paid like I'm in the mailroom? That's probably local pay, but we're getting sidetracked. Right. So that's the thing. The whole point is when you go somewhere and you have some type of training, some level of knowledge, experience, you would expect that they should expect to pay you more. If that's not a part of their thought process, they're like, well, yeah, we want somebody with a master's degree to work the front desk. Okay, I can do that. So how much are you gonna pay me? 12.50 an hour. But I got a master's degree. Yeah, you have a master's degree. That's great, and we really appreciate that. But there's no need for that master's degree in what we want you to do. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the forefront here is how many of you, if you got credentialed in the manner in which the American Guild of Notary Publics is saying, you will want to still get paid at the same lower level that you're getting paid, whatever that may be, depending on where you live at. So let's say, like in my area, the average fee that I've been getting around 85 with signing companies, 150 from direct clients. So now the question is, do I expect to get more compensation if I'm better trained, more knowledgeable, all of that? It's either yes or no. Regardless of whether I get it, that's what I expect. I will tell you now, that's what I expect. But the reality is, somebody has to have a conversation with these companies and inform them that they have to change their expectations in two ways. One, respect our notary laws and don't have me doing stuff that's illegal or unethical. And two, expect to pay more for the higher quality of service that you're going to get from me. Where's that? Why wouldn't that be a thing that we should expect? Because we expect that in our W-2s. And if you're telling me that as a credentialed notary, as a notary public, I have to go through this process, which is somewhat similar to me working a job, then I need to know that I'm going to get paid higher pay. But if you're going to say, well, the reason why you get higher pay is because it's something you negotiate with them. But if I've already negotiated a fee that I like, and now you're telling them that, hey, Griff is great, but he's not credentialed. So pick a credentialed notary. I go get credentialed and I already got experience with the company. I'm expect higher pay. So he says, and I forgot to put y'all thing up. So it says, I believe the pay is based on relationship, tenure, and performance, but ultimately no business wants to pay more then they have to get the job done, hence the undercutting and the bidding wars. And I agree. The pay will be all over the place unless it's unionized, and at least that way, get what I would like to believe. The problem is we're business owners, we're independent business owners, so we can't unionize. A union, and I've done videos on that, a union is for W-2 workers. So now you get into part of the crux of what my concern is. Are we being turned into W-2 employees? Because we are commissioned notaries by the state as independent business owners, sole proprietor or limited liability company. But we are independent business owners. So my business is working with that business to get this job done for their client. And you're right, we can negotiate and I can talk to them and they can talk to me. But if their expectation is, I just need you to sign this paper and do your notary thing and we good. Okay, bet. How much you willing to pay me? I'll pay you 150. All right, cool. So now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm already having a tough time dealing with companies who are up and down about paying me. Now I get credentialed, I'm expecting more. I tell them I want more. Will they say, well, we're going to go with a notary who's not credentialed and can give us the same quality of work? That's their prerogative. So then again, where's the assurance that by doing so, I'm going to gain a financial advantage? Unless I get put in some kind of pipeline to only work with these particular companies under these particular guidelines, which then makes me feel like I'm just an employee and I'm not actually an independent contractor, because now the organization is guiding and directing where I go work at. Oh, go work with them. Go work with them. Well, what if I want to cut my own deal? But I can cut my own deal, but the people who I'm cutting the deal with may not be cool with this organization, may not like what they're doing because they're like, well, that's going to cause us to have to pay more money. These are the thoughts that I'm having. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about this because they just want training, because they think the training is going to make them more money. But we have a lot of people who have taken all kinds of training in their job and they still getting paid $5. Well, back in the day, it will just say $12 an hour. And they're highly trained and educated. So you can have the education, but the goal is, well, the core part that's missing is whether or not the company who's hiring you wants to pay more for what you bring to the table. They, of course, they won't always take everything you give them for 12.50. You want to give them $20 worth of effort, they will take it all day, every day, and they would then turn around and say, "Hey, we never told you to do that." Well, you didn't turn it down. Hey, who? We're not fools. You want to give me some free work, labor? Go right ahead. The only thing I can do is, the only thing I can pretty much promise you that I won't fire you because you giving me, you working for at least two and a half people or two people, and I'm only paying you one time. So I'm good with that. So you stay. The rest of y'all leave. Give me seven people that can do the work of 15. I will keep you seven, and we good. Don't ask for no more. I'm not paying you anymore. That's cool. That's business, and I get that. So my biggest concern is that who's standing up for us? Who has taken time out to ask us? And he said, "Thank you for your interaction. I'm a new subscriber from New York. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The Dairy Clan. I appreciate that." My concern is who's going to back me up when I start operating and walking in this new knowledge that I have of my notary laws. Who's going to stand up for me and tell the company, hey, look, what you're asking the notary to do is illegal, it's wrong, and you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm sorry. That's not the way it's supposed to be done. And we see, to me, what needs to happen is the lender, the title, and the signing company, they also need to be educated in proper notary laws. They need to have a resource that they can go to find out whether or not a person, just say me, can do or not do something within the confines of Virginia law. See, rather than just focus on trying to make notaries better trained, we need to get everybody better informed, because the lender is going to be like, I'm not a notary. I don't need a notary. The title company, I'm not a notary. The signing company, I'm not a notary. Even though they probably are former notaries, washed up notaries, who don't know it. My thing is, those three entities need to have somebody guiding them into the right direction, so that when we interact with them, they don't pull us into something that we shouldn't be doing. I mean, think about it. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I think it's female ballerina that just retired. All right. Yes, this young lady here, Misty Copeland, one of the world's famous ballerinas. Y'all need to look her up and look at her story. You need to look at her story because it is amazing. It is amazing what Trailblazer Misty Copeland, she retired from American Ballet. Here's one of the things was going on with her. Her family was living in a hotel, had a lot of financial problems and other problems, but she was highly talented and everybody could see it. And it got to the point where sending her back to her home in the hotel was not conducive for her to be her best. So her ballerina teacher basically talked to her mother and said, I want her to come live with me. And now she is one of the world's most famous ballerinas. The point that I'm making is that you cannot have somebody learning how to do things right, but they keep going into bad situations, they keep going into bad environments. There's just no way you can have true and pure growth and success if every time you leave from school, you go back to an environment, whether ghetto, trailer park, what have you, and there's drugs and this, that, and the other all around you, and you're one of the brightest, smartest individuals, and there's promise there, but you can't move forward because the environment. So they pull you out. That's why a lot of the top basketball players, they do what? Go to private Christian schools. Not that they necessarily act more Christian or anything, but they get out of the bad hood environment or trailer park environment or barrio environment, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And they learn how to function on a higher level because now they're surrounded by other people who are functioning on a higher level. To me, it makes no sense whether it's the NNA, the American Guild of Notaries, the National Notary Coalition, or any other group. Doesn't matter with all these TMCs and stuff. If nobody is ever helping to educate the lender, the title, and the signing company in how to properly respect and honor what we're supposed to do as notaries per our state. It has nothing to do with the individual training that you take. My state law supersedes all of that. I don't care what the Guild would teach me, Ty would teach me, the NNA would teach me, Mark Wills, Vanessa Terry, Kendra Lewis, Ronnie Mickles, and a host of others, Anna, any of them. I don't care. With Bill, with Laura, our state law supersedes all of that. But what makes it hard? And if you agree with what I'm about to say here, what makes it hard for us notaries a lot of times is that the entities we work for They don't respect what we do as notary. I'm not talking about the pay aspect. I'm just talking about from the legality aspect. They sometimes ask us if you agree with that, type agree in the chat. And if you disagree, type disagree. But a lot of them don't respect what we do. And those are the ones who I have the most problems with. You're asking me to backdate a document. I can't legally do that. Well, other notaries do. And then they threaten to do what? Not use you and to stop you from making money if you don't succumb and submit to what they're saying. Okay, so who can I tell on them to? I want to tell. There's no one I can tell. Because everybody says, well, oh, they're a private entity. You either work for them or you don't. But yet everybody is trying to corral the notary into some organization to make us behave and act a certain way. And it's like, they just got it like this. And it's like, can you get off my neck? And somehow pull all the entities, the notary, the lender, the title, the signing, and get all of us to work. And let's include the state also. And let's say, okay, the notaries are required to do this. We are the ones who took an oath to follow our state law. I didn't take an oath to follow anything these organizations teach. I took an oath to follow state law. Why can't you respect that? Why is it so hard for you to allow me to function within the law that I swore an oath to? Part of the reason why you won't do it is because it interferes with you getting stuff done. So now we have to look at what is it that you're trying to get done? Because I keep being told, oh, well, you can't do, no, you can't do that because they're going to reject it. Who's going to reject my notarization? Because if it's being rejected, then you got to tell me why. Well, they just like it done like this. But is that legal in accordance with my state? Well, you're not in, well, this is going to another state, but I'm obligated to function as a notary in my state, because if that's the case, if it's all about doing it in line with what that state wants, then we need a universal notary commission that says, I know how to do notarizations for that state and that state, and no matter what state, no matter where I'm at, when a notarization comes, I can do it in accordance with that state guidelines because I'm universally commissioned. I'm not just commissioned in my state, but I'm commissioned in other states or all the states because I've done this. Now this is where I really see the American Guild of Notary, because now you got to really get your mind right. You got to be able to say, okay, well, I understand this law versus Georgia versus Montana versus this, but who really wants to do that? And that gets real complicated. And I think it opens the door up for more fraud also. To have a universal notary commission that you can just go do notarization for any state, there needs to be some oversight on that. But it's still, the point is, instead of boxing us in and letting everybody else run free, the whole industry needs to be boxed in for a little bit and say, okay, this is how we're going to function. Where's the problem? Now, here's the other thing. You still got to deal with the TMCs out there. You got to deal with them and get them to stop the bull jive teaching or have some kind of oversight. You see what I'm saying? You got to, because part of the problem is that they taught us in a certain way that made us think that we're supposed to function this way, get paid this way, all of that. And then we find out, oh, that's not the case. And then these companies kick back and be like, oh, push back. And they're like, no, we ain't going for that. So then you have these independent organizations that are trying to say, oh, we can get the notaries to act right. And it's always, we can get the notaries to act right, but who's working with the title, the lender, and the signing? And I'm not saying all of them are bad. There is a very small percentage But it makes it more difficult because when you as a notary come across somebody who's treating you bad, you tend to reciprocate that to someone who's not even thinking about treating you bad. We know that happens. So what I want to see is something in place that if I was to submit to any of this stuff, that there's some kind of protection for me. That I'm me following my state laws is respected. And right now I don't feel that it's respected from a few companies out there. They just want me to shut up and do what they say because you're paying me some money. And I'm like, but I can't do that. I legally can't do that. And here's chapter and verse that says I can't do it. Okay, well, we just won't be using you no more. That's what I've been told. And I'm like, so now you're telling me I can't be used anymore because I'm being punished because I'm trying to, not just trying, I'm doing things the right way and I'm being punished for it. I'm being told I cannot earn money. I cannot make money to take care of my family and myself because I opt to do things correctly in accordance with the state laws that I have sworn an oath to. Where is that right? And nobody is coming to our defense except to say, get more training. Thoughts? Because the question is, how many more organizations do we need to be as part of? National Notary Coalition, the NNA, the American Guild of Notary Publics. Then we take Mark Will's training, Vanessa's training, Ronnie's training, Kendra's training. What's the name? Anna training. Then we take all these other people's training. We keep taking everybody's training. Heck, you even take my training. And you're still deemed not good enough. And that's the part that hurts me the most is that I talk to y'all and y'all are some wonderful, wonderful people. And y'all are busting y'all butt in this business. And for somebody to make you feel small because, well, you didn't take this training, but I'm doing the job the way it's supposed to be done. I'm getting it done correctly. I know, but you need to take this training and then you'll be special to us. But then because I took that training, this other company is like, you're not special to us because we don't like that training. So now we need you to be retrained over here. But what's wrong? You need to be trained over here with this training and we'll be cool with you. So now I got to run and get that training. And then if somebody said, we don't like neither one of those trainings, come take our training and you'll be okay. Okay, how much work would I be able to get from you? Oh, probably about 3 or 4 a month. So I got to go through all of that just to get about 3 or 4 closings per month or assignments of some sort. So between the 3 different trainings and the companies that want that training, you're talking about maybe 15 or 20 a month. But I need I need 85 a month. So I take this training and you don't have the ability to send me 85 appointments per month at 150 a piece, 125. What am I getting trained for? Say, I think any company that expects a notary to go against state law should be reported to. Correct. But they have to have a system to deal with that because they say, oh, well, that's a private entity and you can choose not to work for them. But if the company has done great marketing and all of that, and they say, oh, well, we got this area on lockdown because we're one of 3 companies that will work to get work over here and to do stuff over in this area, especially if it's a rural area, you're limited. You're limited in being able to do it. Just like there's one signing company, and some of y'all will probably know who it is when I say this. They want you, and they tell you up front that you have to explain the documents. Well, they're getting that mess from who they took training from. They're telling you that basically, if you don't do what we say, this is the signing company, not a title, not a lender, just the person who's supposed to be assigning the work. They're saying if you don't function the way we want you to function, we're gonna blacklist you. We ain't having nothing to do with you. We're not gonna pay you. Did I do anything? Did I get the order? No, you did the notarizations, everything is done. But we prefer our notaries to explain the documents or go over them. Well, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing that. Well, see, this is where you take this training and you do that, and then you'll know how to do it. Even if I took the training, I still don't see anywhere in my state law that I'm supposed to do that. Well, either you do it or you don't get any work from us. So now I'm like, okay, that's some bull jive. That is some bull jive. And that's what some people are doing out here. Where is that correct? I didn't join this business to get away from my W 2 just to be corralled into another W 2 ish type of scenario. Let me be free. And as long as I'm following my state guidelines, where is the problem? See, when you say ethics, what are the ethical problems that notaries are doing or causing? Because what you think is unethical or that they're doing something unethical, no, I'm not doing that at all. There's no proof at all that I ever done that. And what part of my state law did I need to know? Like one of the levels, the master level, it said you need to you'll know case law. Do I really need to know case law? Correct. It's a form of gatekeeping. But everybody's trying to gatekeep the notary. Nobody is talking about the other entities who ask the notaries to do things wrong. That's where the problem comes in at for me. Nobody is talking to us. Nobody has ever asked us. That's why I said a couple of weeks ago, when you go to the NNA conference, they do not have a session where you can communicate to them what issues you've had. Maybe one of the speakers up there is a signing company that you had problems with, and they blacklisted you. It's like, I need to have a talk with you, sir. I need to know what the heck did I do, because I did this right, that right, and the other, and you still put me on your blacklist. Why? See, if the guild, if the coalition, or if the NNA ever really wanted to do something to make me happy, have the rules changed that block us from seeing the comments that have been left about us, as well as who left the comment. If somebody blacklisted me, I want to know who. I want to know why. We can't be notarized. I mean, unionized. Let me share something with you real quick. Um, um, all right. Let me let me share something with you real quick. Let me see if I can pull this up, because that's the first thing people say. Oh, get unionized. What y'all keep forgetting is that we are independent contractors. Okay, that's the first thing, and I'm not saying this from a disrespect. Okay, but we are independent contractors. Okay, so the truth about notary signing agent fee discussion right here. There is a very simple reason why we, the NA, we don't talk about notary signing agent fees. Federal law prohibits us from doing so. Neither the NNA nor the signing agents can engage in actions to fix prices. We also can't host discussions for calling for set fees, which I understand. That's why I know that the American Guild for Notaries would never get in there and tell those entities, hey, you need to pay the notaries this, that, and the other. fee. I know that. Okay. And that's where Ty's getting in some could get herself in some legal mess because she's actually talking about price fixing. It could be deemed as price fixing because you're telling them, oh, you have to pay us this fee, that, and the other. So the American Guild is honestly doing it right. But the problem is there's no expectation from the companies that they will have to pay us a higher fee. Now, nobody knows say you can't like, hey, let them know, but it's a slippery slope. Okay. So it goes on to say, we understand many of you would like us to function like a trade union and advocate for fees you are paid. At minimum, you want us to provide a forum where you can talk about fees to members and anyone else who could be listening. But it says here, when it comes to issues of fees, the law is very strict about any actions member of a profession or a professional association take that could improperly restrict trade. Federal law prohibits competitors in any industry from getting together to discuss or set fees. This is known as price fixing. For example, it will be illegal for tax preparers to get together to decide no one in the profession should charge less than $100 for preparing the short form. So, and this is from this YouTube video here. Oops, clicked on the button. I was trying to copy it. If you want to have my video, and let me copy and drop that in here. All right. And this was back when I first started using Chat GTP. So I don't know how, so this is talking about the different types of unions. You have an industrial union that represent workers across various trades. A general union encompasses a broad range of workers. Public sector unions for government employees, white collar unions, blue collar unions, service unions, global unions. I'm trying to see and I know I scrolled up. Oh no. Oh, here it is. Company unions and then professional associations. While not traditional union, these groups advocate for the interests of professionals in specific fields, often focusing on standards, ethics, and professional development, which is what the guild is talking about doing. I'm just concerned when they start trying to market notaries or market what they're doing and sort of convincing people that they should only select notaries from that group. It can restrict us and say we have to, and that's where the NNA, in my opinion, is a little on thin ice. So you have to be careful about that. You really, really, really have to be careful. That's why SnapDoc says it's not required to be NNA certified to be on SnapDocs, but companies that are on SnapDocs trying to hire notaries may require that. This gets deep, y'all. And all I'm saying is there needs to be a discussion across the board. It really does. Because now the question, in my opinion, is what do the signing company, what do well, you might as well say the signing company, title companies, and lenders really want from the notary? What is it that they really, really want from us? What is the job description that they want us to perform? And once I understand that clearly, now I can simply say, okay, based on that, I can or cannot do it. I either have what it takes or I don't. Or what you're asking me to do goes outside the scope of what I'm supposed to do as a notary. And if there's something that you really feel that I should be doing, you're correct. They do want control. They want control of the notaries because people tend to want control of independent contractors because when you follow the independent contractor laws and look at them, It's not in favor of the entity that's hiring the independent contractor. It's in favor of the independent contractor. And you're correct, without pushback. So this is where we're at. So I'm like, I want to be able to function as an independent business owner, but they don't want us to. And they will say, oh, no, 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 we're not trying. You can't have both, one or the other. Which one is it going to be? So this is where we have to have that discussion and give me the guidelines as to what you want. Oh, you want me to do this extra stuff? Okay, so then how can I legally do it without it being a conflict? Because if what you're asking me to do is really something that a W-2 should be doing, but you're farming it off on me as a independent contractor, that could get you in trouble, Mr. or Miss Business Owner. And everything that I'm saying can be verified. All you got to do is look up independent contractor rules. You Google that. I've done videos on it. You just look up independent contractor rules, and you will find out. Oh, okay. In a nutshell, if let's just say my company Griffin Notary hires Howard. Yeah, Howard. We hire Howard. We are supposed to just give him the assignment. He's supposed to have the ability and the skill set to get it done. As an independent contractor, I have to be mindful of how much I direct him on how to do his job, because the more guidance and direction that I give him could be deemed as me controlling his flow and taking his independence away. Therefore, I'm actually operating as his employer, and he is acting, and I'm making him act as my employee. And guess what? The company that does that and they get caught, they then get sued by the government and they have to pay their employment taxes and stuff plus penalty that they missed for that I missed on paying Howard, as well as his employment taxes, fees that he should have paid off of his money. It's coming out of my pocket. Mine plus fees, penalty fees, and then his, and I believe plus fees, penalty fees and stuff. So by us operating the way we're supposed to, we're actually protecting the companies that are hiring us. Because I guarantee you, not everybody understands the true difference between an independent contractor and an employee. Google the difference. All you got to do, there have been some who have, because, and there are cases, if you start looking at an independent contractor rules and this, that, and the other, there's a few videos out there. They actually talk about it. They talk about the fact that there was a company that had a lady. She thought she was a employee, but they actually tried to function her. They listed her as an independent contractor, but they told her when she had to come to work, when she could leave, all of that. And when she left, I think she ended up getting like $60,000. There was vacation time, all of that, because she didn't get a severance. She didn't get nothing because it's like, oh, you're an independent contractor. Correct. Correct. There's no enforcement for misclassification. This is why I'm saying we need to police ourselves. Keep in mind now, what did the National Association of Realtors just go through? They went through a thing by the Justice Department being declared that they was price fixing and they was monopolizing. What is Ticketmaster going through? Look up Ticketmaster. They're getting sued by the Justice Department, and guess what? Apple is getting sued over the text message bubble thing. Whenever you restrict a person's ability or a group of people ability to compete or to get a fair price, you're in violation of a lot of stuff that the federal government says is a no-no. So you can sit here and look at Griff like, oh, Griff, you just get off my guy. I'm just telling you, it's the information is out here. If you do the research yourself, you will find that what I'm saying is true. But to go and look it up, now you have no excuse. So people rather operate in darkness and hope that you stay in darkness. And if you're in a darker place than them, then they can manipulate you more. So we're all in a dark place, but who's in the darkest place? And the darker you are in something, and the less you know about it, the more people who are a little more knowledgeable can take advantage of you. And none of us signed up for this. See, this is my big thing. I never signed up to be abused. I never signed up to be taken advantage of. I signed up to work with entities that need my services and to allow me to operate within the confines of my state law. And if that's wrong for me to operate in that way, then I guess I need to find something else to do. Because I should be allowed to function as a notary. And I'm seeing that everybody else has a different view of the way a notary should function. And I'm like, what is wrong with the way I'm doing it? If I'm doing it in accordance with my state law, that's not good enough. Why isn't it good enough? Don't worry about why it's not good enough. Just do what we tell you to do. That sounds like employment because your bosses at their job, the W-2, don't feel as though they need to tell you anything, that we're paying you a hourly salary, a hourly wage, we're paying you an annual salary, and you need to shut up and do what the heck we say. That is 1,000% correct. And I'm not trying to start trouble. And to all the signing companies and title companies, I'm not trying to, I'm telling y'all, I don't want to see our industry get pinned down like the other ones that I just mentioned. Because at some point in time, if we don't get this thing fixed, meaning all these TMCs out here who are doing all of this shotgun training and just making up stuff as they go along, it's going to be a problem. Every time you turn around, there's another apostille training or I-9 training. Everybody got an apostille training. Everybody got a daggone I-9 training. But nobody's training you in how to do notarial certificates. I'm the only one that is actively doing that. The only one who is actively trying to help you understand how to do your job as a notary and use deductive reasoning and logic to figure out how to properly notarize the signatures on a document with the notarial certificate that does not meet your state requirements. And you're trying to figure out, well, how can I use it? Or do I need to add another certificate? What is it that I need to do? How do I need to do it? All of that. But nobody teaches that. It's everything else. They're teaching. And all of that is good. Okay, yeah, we got the ethics and I'm a person of character and all this, that, but it don't do no good if the title company, the lender, and the signing company keep asking us, and I know I sound like a broken record because I am being a broken record, to do illegal and wrong things. And then they're basing what they're telling us to do off of the other notaries who, okay, I do it. And then get angry with me for saying, no, I'm not doing it. And I give you chapter and verse why I can't. And now the reality comes in, and it's like, oh, case in point. People in Virginia notaries are not allowed to collect closing funds unless we have a settlement license. And if we don't have a settlement license, what's going on, partner? He said, I think that's part of your problem. You are relying on a company to bring you business. Okay. Whether you work direct or not, you're still relying on a company to bring me business. When it comes with the mortgage industry, how are you not depending on a title company or signing company when that's the flow? Even if you say, well, forget the signing company, because you might be referring to that. Okay, fine, we get the signing company, but I'm still depending on the title company to function with a lender who functions with a real estate agent or other entities out there who are buying and selling houses or need a house refinance. So I'm not, as the notary, I can't go and create the real estate transaction. I can't do that. The only way I can create I can't create any transaction. Somebody has to have a need for a piece of paper. No, I don't. I don't have a settlement license. So no matter who we are dependent upon them. Remember, hold on. Remember this. Remember this graphic that I did about a couple of weeks ago, I mean months ago. This is the flow of how we get business. The notary is down here. The signing company is here. The title. So the lender or realtor has a client that needs some type of real estate thingamadeal. They then send that through the title company to get all the paperwork together. And then the title company will find a signing company to get a notary. We cannot just go running willy-nilly out there saying, hey, you, Fred Jones, go buy a house so I can have work down here. We can't do that. Just the same, just the same as if we did work direct, in our direct flow, it's the lender, the title, then to us. That's why I always say you have to have a title company that's working with a lender who is doing business in your area. If you don't have that, then you have no business. Just the same as with general notary work. Somebody has to have a need for Earl to get some piece of paper signed and notarized. Because when Earl wakes up on Monday morning, he has no need. I'm going to work. But he gets to work and they say, Earl, I want to promote you and we want to do such and such. And we need to send you to our training over there in Thailand to understand our shipping and our transportation methods, this, that, and the other. And in order to do that, we need this done and we need this signed and notarized. Then they need it. So we are totally dependent on other entities to create business for us. We can market and tell everybody. We can market and tell everybody we're here. But we can't make anybody have a piece of paper that needs to sign a signature on it. Right now, if you, Howard, had a car detailing business, and I have a need with my notary business, and tomorrow is Saturday, if me and you was in the same area and we went through the same neighborhood, you took the 25 houses on the left, I did the 25 houses on the right, and then we switched. I will go to the 25 houses on the right and, hey, how you doing? I'm Stephen Griffin Notary. Just trying to see if you have a document, you have anything that needs to be notarized. Signatures on the document that need to be notarized. You do? Yeah. Oh, which one? Okay, no problem. Thank you very much for your time. You go to the first house. Hey, how you doing? I'm Howard. Hey, Howard Clean, Clean and Shine. We do mobile detailing. So wanted to find out, hey, we see you got two nice cars out here. Would you like us to detail it for you real quick? Or would you like me to detail it for you real quick? Now I got two packages. I can do the full detail where I do the inside and outside, or I can just do the outside and shine up the wheels and all of that kind of stuff. Oh, you don't need me? Oh, you about to go somewhere? No problem. Well, how about tomorrow? I can come on Sunday. Oh, Sunday's good for you? All right, cool. You know what? Oh, you mean no, I can come later today. So you will be back by 4? Okay, no problem. I can come back and I'll be here at 4 o'clock waiting on you, and I'll get you cleaned up real quick so you be nice and ready for church tomorrow. Good shot? All right, cool. Thanks. Oh, yeah. You know what? I can do a discount for the 2 cars. It's not a problem. Not a problem. Instead of 75, I do it for 65. That's good for you? Okay, cool. No problem. We do that up and down. I guarantee you, you will have more business than me because nobody is sitting around with pieces of paper saying, I need it to be notarized. But people have vehicles, even if it's a motorcycle, even if it's a bicycle. And if they don't, they got a friend. Hey, my cousin, my this, that, and the other. So the business you have to have something that can generate income. The notary can generate income at the point that somebody needs us. But if nobody needs us, and that's the problem we have right now. If nobody needs us or nobody will select us, then how can we make money? And we can market all day, but somebody still got to say, I'm going to pick Howard. Howard's my man. I got you. I got you. So he says here, and the transactions can't be completed without the notary. That is correct, but they don't have to use us. Which y'all don't realize, and this is not a negative toward you, Bruce. This is just period. This is something I realized. These banks and lending institutions work together with each other. So let's just say there's a bank, we'll just say Michigan Federal Savings and Loans, little hometown bank. And they have a person over here in Virginia Beach that needs such and such done. But the notary is being difficult. The notary is like, well, I want $250 to do this. I want this. And the notaries are just being very, very difficult. That bank can get in the banking system and say, okay, what banks we have in that area? Oh, we got a Chartway. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. This Earl Jones from Michigan Federal Savings and Loan. Hey, look, we have some business that we're trying to do down there in the Hampton Roads area, and we're having a hard time finding notaries. How about this? We'd like to cut y'all a deal and give y'all X amount of dollars for each one of these transactions that y'all can notarize for us. We're going to have about 50 over the next year. And we just need a solid place that we can have our client come to, and we will pay your people this, we'll pay you this fee to get it done. Can you do that for us? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Not a problem. Thank you. See, y'all think people are stuck on you. Nobody is stuck on you as an individual. Nobody is stuck on the mobile notary business. So even with the NNA, the guild, and the coalition, if the people in the guild, coalition, or NNA association get up and start acting a fool, don't think that these lenders can't turn around and be like, you know what? Boom, we'll do this. We'll cut you a deal. Because here's the thing, as long as it gets done and it gets done right. So this goes all the way back to the heart of what I was saying before. What do they really need the notary to do? Because I'm not looking for Chartway Notary to be some highly skilled and educated. I just need you to sign and stamp the papers. I ain't even looking for you to explain nothing. We'll take care of that on our end. See, that's how my mind thinks. If I'm dealing with a signing company, if I'm the lender and I'm asking the title to find me a notary in Virginia, and them notaries in Virginia acting a pure T fool, hey, don't worry. Find me a bank that'll find me a matter of fact, you ain't gotta find me a bank, find me a title company. Find me a title company. Matter of fact, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set me up a branch. I'm going title company, go set up a branch in the Hampton Roads area. Find me some title people and they can work from home. Or we'll get a Regis office or whatever. See, y'all are limited in your thinking. If I'm a lender or a title company and I'm having problems with getting notaries in a particular area, I'll just start my own operation there. Bump all of y'all. And I'm gonna be taking names, and I remember each one. And you come up to my get out. Well, hey, I want to see if you can make me a preferred notary. I prefer you to leave. Get out. Don't come nowhere near my establishment. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you an email up front. Hey, I'm starting a new business there, title business, dot, 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 to handle all of the work that you would not do for me. And I just want you to know that I'm going to be in the area and you best not come anywhere near a closing that I'm doing. Send. This is business. And if y'all want to allow these people to get in your head, you need to pay me. Go ahead on. But guess what? I'm the one with the money. The lenders are the one with the money. You're right. I've always said, you've heard me say it. The notaries are what? The most important, but the least powerful. Because at any time that lender can say, you know what? Don't mess with them 15 notaries right there. Within, they got their lawyers. Hey, Earl Jones lawyer. Yeah. Go set me up a business entity in Virginia. So we can do this. Get on LinkedIn and find me some experienced title people that might be out of work in the area. And next thing you know, boom, they done set up. And all the work, and anytime we got a closing in that area, go to the office. And we'll hire some notaries in-house to do the work for us. They can do that. See, y'all think people are limited and just stuck on you. I know they ain't stuck on me. I know at any point in time, my direct clients can say, you know what, Greg, we done with you. I know that. They can come. Hey, yeah, it was very great, man. But we're not going to be using you anymore. Hey, I understand. Thank you. I get that. I'm not scared about it. I'm not worried about it. I don't even think about it. I understand it. And when I'm saying I'm not thinking about it, meaning like every day, I'm not even every month. It's like I know that can happen. I figured that out years ago, but I operate in the here and now of what I have established, and I just rock and roll with it. At the tune of 85 plus closes a month, averaging at least maybe $90 a pop. So it's working for me. And the people I'm working with, they are happy with me. Unless somebody comes along and tells them what you got ain't good enough. And now that sways them. Well, yeah, Griff ain't good enough. But see, here's the thing. I know I'm good enough. And I know that anybody that comes in, they ain't gonna have the heart that I have because it's all about the money for them. Well, I'm educated. I'm an educated notary, so you got to pay me. Because that's 95% of the notaries out here. The moment they get some type of education in this field, they want, you got to pay me more money. That fee that you're talking about is not good enough. And if the company is not in a position to pay more money or feel that it's worth it, hey Griff, look, man, sorry about that. How about you come on back and we'll drop we'll bump you from 150 to 200. Okay. How many times that happened in work in the W-2 realm? You're the best person for the job, but somebody comes in and says, hey, you know, you really need to have somebody with a master's degree. You got a bachelor's. They kick you out. They bring this person in and they tear everything up. And then they come and you looking out the you and you got the curtains up. I see you, Griff. Hey man, look, man, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. Can you come back? We see this all the time in TV shows and sitcoms. They're telling us who you think is the best may not always be the best. And if you got somebody solid, don't let somebody con you out of keeping them in your corner. The person who cons their way in, a lot of times is the worst person to have. Because they only got in there just to get what you have, but not really because their heart is in it. Because if their heart was in doing what they're doing, they would have been willing to go through the process to get elevated to that. A person who's not willing to go through the process of proper elevation to the next level are some of the most dangerous people to have in your organization. They are the most dangerous, that they get a little bit of knowledge and now they think they need to ascend on high. And you give them a chance. I was saying give them facts, give them a chance, and it's like, oh wow, man, you ain't about nothing. This happens all the time. And it can happen here in the notary world, and it is. Y'all just don't see it. And people see it and they don't talk about it. I bring it to light because I believe it can be fixed. I believe there can be a balance between what the NNA is doing, what the guild is doing, and what the coalition is doing. But I still firmly believe that the missing pieces is the states, the title, the lender, and the signing company. Those 4 pieces is missing. It's 5 pieces. We're 1/5 of this here whole thing. And everybody's so concerned about making us do right, but there's no checks and balances on them. The signing company has no checks and balances. They do whatever they want. All right, Shalom, my man. You have a good night. You have a good night. I'm about to bounce out of here myself because I got to go down here and cook some food for tomorrow and everything. For Shabbat, I got to do that tonight. So I'm going to cook some French toast, and I already cooked my rice and other stuff like that and clean up the kitchen and everything. But things can be better. And I appreciate y'all for listening to me. I really do. I really appreciate y'all listening. I appreciate the comments and all of that and your thoughts and things of that nature. Howard, he said, can you work directly with a title company? Or is that not? It's profitable if you find a title company that's willing to pay. There's some title companies that their business model is $100. Some might be 200. But then the question is, how much do you want to get? How much money do you want to make per month? If your goal of money is 5,000 and the title company at 150 only has, so at 150 times, let's just say 15, that's 2250. That's 2250 you're pulling in a month from that company at $150 times 15 appointments. But you need 5 grand. See, you have to define what profitable is. Is it not profitable because you didn't hit 5 grand? What makes this not profitable? And primarily is because, well, that's not enough money for me to take care of what I need to take care of. And if you're not doing anything else. But see, I don't look at it as, will that entity be profitable for me? Will the work that I've done this month be profitable? It's not any one entity. Oh, the signing companies have made me profitable, or the title company. It's the notary work that I did is what made me profitable. Me doing the work made me profitable, not one particular entity. Because there are direct clients that I may get a lot of work from in 1 month and none the next month, or the next 2 months, or 3 months. That's right. You can't depend on any one company or even one avenue. Now, I depend on the mortgage industry as a whole, but within the mortgage industry, you got HELOCs, reverse mortgages, regular refis, you got purchase, you got sales, you got loan modifications, you just got deed transfers, you got cash sales, you got cash purchases. See, you got all these small entities when you say, well, I only do refis, I only do sales, I only do purchases, I won't do a reverse mortgage. I did a 248-page reverse mortgage today. Made 150 off of it. But that's a lot of pages to print. Yeah, I had to print them twice. But that's not, either I make 150 or I don't. Which one do I want to do? 150 or just print 3 pages? If I can print 3 pages and make 150, I'll do it. I had an order last week. One order was $80, 100 some pages. Another order the night before was 3 pages, made 85. I'm just trying to make money. But if you want to get caught up in the aesthetics of how you're making the money and that's more important to you, then I get it. You have at it. And every order that you say no to, I will be saying yes to. If it's in my ability to say yes, and I will make the money that I need to make, and you will make whatever you make. And see the diversification even within the mortgage, not just those loan types, it's also the times in which I can do it. Morning, night, back to back, travel here, travel there. All of those are different things. It says, I depend on process my core niche, but I serve loan signing estate documents with attorneys and professionals. It's nothing wrong. See, I'm just looking to do great notary work. If somebody calls me to do apostille, I'll do it. If I can put it in my schedule, I'll do it. If somebody calls me to do loan closings, done. Estate planning, done. General notary, done. Go to the hospital, done. The problem is too many people are trying to have this aesthetic looking, aesthetically pleasing notary business so that nobody puts them down. How dare you take those type of orders? What is wrong with you? That's where the problem is. I don't give a flying flip what anybody thinks about me doing 85 appointments, me staying up late at night, prepping documents. I don't care what any of y'all think because ain't none of y'all paying my bills or gonna try to pay my bills. It's that simple. Whether I'm on YouTube or not, guess what? I still have a responsibility for this that I've been blessed with. And I have been put in a position to where I can go out here and work and make money to take care of all of what I've been blessed with. I'm going to do it. Whether you think I should or not, whether you feel you would do it or not, that's okay. That's okay. But what is not okay, in my opinion, is you telling me that I'm not good enough because I don't have your credentials. And especially when you're not going to back me up with somebody who wants me because of those credentials, but they still ask me to do things that are in violation of those credentials. That's not okay. You never have to do any of what I do. You gotta do. But the one thing we all have to do, no matter what state we're in, is follow our state laws that we swore an oath to. That's non-negotiable. All right, y'all. Thanks as always for your support and being here. So I'm gonna go downstairs, get this food cooked, do all that stuff for tomorrow, and enjoy my day off. Y'all have a good one. As always, I'm here. If you need to talk to me, got any questions, whatever, drop them in there. I appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate those who are channel members. And if you want the notary certificate training, the information is in the description of this video. Dates for January already listed. Sometime this weekend, I'll probably put up some more for January and most definitely February and March. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.